Let's go. Hi together. My name is Holo Rolnik. I'm into metaverse, NFT, VR, AR, and I have today a very special day because of the special announcement of Nike and Artifact. Let me introduce to you Sam. And Sam is not only a sneakerhead, he was also building one of the largest reseller communities of sneakers in London, I think, UK, but also very heavily into NFTs. So for me, as a noob for sneakers, I don't know nothing about it. I would really love to have an expert regarding this news. But let you please introduce yourself, Sam.
That's a very humbling introduction. Thank you very much for having me, and it's a pleasure to discuss anything NFTs and sneakers anytime, any place.
It's a dream come true,
Very
yes. Whoever would think
passionate.
this, that these two worlds will collide, and we'll record a video for LinkedIn about sneakers and NFTs. Crazy.
You say that, but I mean, if you had asked me that 9 months ago, I kind of I saw the vision, and I know, like, going full circle with Artifact, they saw the vision too. I mean, they've been doing it for 2 years now already. It took me a little bit longer to really connect all the dots, but it's really, I think the more we discuss about it today, it's really quite a perfect kind of extension, or like kind of central meeting point for both of the industries. They really work very well together. To use some fancy words, they have very high synergies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm Sam. I've been doing and collecting sneakers for, I don't know why I said doing, that sounds weird, but I've been collecting, buying and selling sneakers for 10 years now. Started off only collecting. I bought my first pair of Jordan 3, I think, Fire Reds in maybe 2013. So I guess that's 8 years, 9 years. But when I was collecting, I didn't necessarily always have the money that I needed to buy every single pair. It was kind of sustainable for a few years, like 4 or 5 years, but then Nike started releasing so many pairs that the only real solution to maintain my passion was to start selling ones that I didn't care as much about. I
Hmm.
started selling shoes and realized that I actually had even more fun selling shoes than I did collecting shoes. So really started to focus on the business side of sneakers and like limited edition clothing. Built some cool Facebook communities all around sneakers, different angles, like maybe a reseller focused group or this specific silhouette focus group, and just immersed myself in the community all day, every day. And that for me was what gave me great joy about the sneakers. Wasn't necessarily like the design or owning it, but just being able to share those experiences and connections with people. And I got actually more from that when I was selling them. So for me, it wasn't necessarily about sales, trying to make the most money from a shoe, but it was like building that relationship. Like, I got this shoe from here doing this. I hope that you appreciate like all these cool factors about it. And of course, you meet some people who they don't care at all, and that's fine. But you also meet people who have been looking for that pair for maybe 2 years, 3 years, can't find it anywhere, and you build like that special kind of relationship with them after that. After doing kind of small scale sneakers and building up one of my Facebook groups called Proxy Talk to 15,000 people, I realized that my passion was more global. So I built a marketplace and a store, and we took on StockX and Goat, and they had more money than us, but that didn't take away from the community that we were building.
Yeah, it's all about the
So
community at the end, as shown
yeah,
by
we
Artifact.
just
Yeah.
we just focused on building a community and building priceless relationships, with honest priceless relationships with everyone that we possibly could. Had a great experience doing that, and then moved on to NFTs. Was really quite random, I think. I mean, I had heard the media was crazy, like in December, January 2020 and 2021, and I didn't really think too much of it. But I came across an application called Vivi in March, and everything about it just made perfect sense as a collector, as a seller, as a like business owner who has pain points from physical sales, including like card fraud or fulfillment, and digital just made so much sense. So I kind of like dipped my toes in it, and the rest is history. I think
Yeah, perfect.
it's it's
It makes all
crazy how it all
sense.
happened. Yeah.
Definitely. So what is actually the sneakerhead community thinking about NFTs and digital sneakers? I can imagine, I'm not so deep in it, but I could imagine it's very, very divided because we have a couple of OGs who's telling, no, these are my physical, I have to touch them, I have to feel them, and I even have to smell the leather to know exactly this is the original. But many of them are also into digital stuff, but you know more about
Yeah.
it.
It is very divided for sure. The kind of feeling that I get, or the opinions that I see, are that it's not really divided from the points that you mentioned. It's more just divided from a kind of uneducated perspective of what exactly like digital ownership means. I think a lot of people are still stuck in the mindset that it's just a picture.
Mm,
And once people on everyone that I've spoken to, once they understand what the technology can do for the world as a whole, not just sneakers, and the pain points that it can remove, everyone goes into it. I've never had a friend that I've spoken to like on a one-to-one, just kind of like listen to me for like 5 minutes, ask me whatever questions you want, and we'll see where it goes. And after every conversation, everyone is like, digital is digital is the future. So
yeah.
I think it's more just people not really knowing the exact potential and value of digital items at the moment. But the more brands do to spread awareness, I think the more people will be open-minded about it. Because also, as you say about authenticity, the authenticity is a huge problem in physical sneakers. And I was doing some research actually on authenticity, and it's a insanely gigantic industry. The size of the global counterfeit industry is like $650 billion, and the
I can
size of
imagine. Yeah.
yeah, and the size of the secondary market for sneakers is like 30 billion.
Yeah.
So
Crazy.
if you look at those numbers from a top level, authenticity or like fakes are much more prevalent than real pairs.
Yeah,
And
but this
not
makes
just
on.
much more, but like everything is probably not everything, but like, like most shoes these days are, and that 650 is not just shoes, it's kind of like
Yeah,
everything.
it's
So like
also
shoes,
bags and I get it. Everything that's can be counterfeited is counterfeited
but
actually.
authenticity is a huge problem. And if you look at brands like StockX and Goat, their main business proposition is guaranteeing authenticity.
Mm.
And if you involve the blockchain into these physical products, like having, I mean, this is kind of some alpha into some ideas that I've had. But if you involve the blockchain into the authentication of physical items, that will be significantly, well, that would be
Difficult, more
revolutionary.
difficult, more
No, no,
difficult to
no.
counterfeit.
Difficult, but revolutionary.
Yeah,
Because I
definitely.
mean, the blockchain, you can't mess with the blockchain. Like once it's on the blockchain, it's on the blockchain. You
Yeah,
can't, and that's what the appeal is with all these digital items, is you can't. There's fake collections, but you can't fake like the contract that the real ones are on. So what's authentic, guaranteed. Like no stress about it. If you're spending $20,000 on any kind of digital collectible, that the contract is verified. Like that's it. Like your concerns of authenticity are completely eradicated and never, uh, like ever questioned ever.
definitely.
Um,
Yeah, I'm
I
agreeing 100%.
We're
But
going on a bit of a tangent, but
let us
I
jump.
want to wrap up and say the sneaker world is definitely divided, but I think they are open-minded. And Artifact and Nike was a huge step in the right direction for physical sneakers migrating to the digital world.
Perfect summary. So let me first tell you the following, like how smart are these guys from Nike? Like how smart and visionary are they? Because if you see like the main brand Nike, okay, but then the Jumpman, they were smart enough to offer this fantastic deal to Michael Jordan and building like one of the biggest brands besides Nike. I think it's the Air Jordan brand. Then we have the Converse. Converse is very historical, like more than 100 years, and they were pioneers, I think, in the basketball game, as I remember.
Correct.
And now they also joining the pioneers of the digital fashion industry, virtual fashion artifact.
Yeah.
So as as an insider within the sneaker industry, let me please ask you the following: like what can we as collector of virtual goods, of digital sneakers, expect from this collaboration? What are your perspectives? What are your worries? But first of all, like what are your thoughts about this deal, about this Nike family of these brands?
To start, just to be able to see the lineup of these four brands together is like
Mind blowing.
surreal. Yeah, to be honest, Nike's positioned themselves exceptionally. I'm kind of like lost for. It is so crazy that I'm kind of lost for words in a positive way. I think it was a very ambitious decision on Nike's behalf, but when you kind of look at it from the community level, it made absolute perfect sense for Nike to acquire Artifact. Um, if you look from like a collector perspective, the OG original kind of collections of all three of these brands, like the original silhouettes from when they first released, are historical artifacts, and I guess that kind of like goes full circle with Artifact's brand name, but they're historical kind of like significant pieces from the history of our society, and to begin with, I think that the first official Nike Artifact pieces, I don't know exactly what it will look like, but is something that you should do whatever you can to obtain, if it's physical or digital or both. That is a very culturally significant item. I think that the only thing that's maybe a bit of a challenge is it's still quite restrictive in terms of onboarding new users. Like there are quite a lot of overwhelming steps into I guess the metaverse or Web3. So it will be interesting to see if there is a direct correlation between like physicals and digitals, like one-to-one, or if it's like a physical line for the Web2 people and digital for the Web3. I don't know exactly what it will look like, but it certainly will help people see the blend between both of them. The collaboration or the acquisition really was, from my opinion, one of the best acquisitions Nike have, maybe the best acquisition Nike have ever made. Um, yeah,
Definitely. I hope that this will bring the NFT world closer to all the sports celebrities and celebrities. Nike is working very close with Drake, with their own brand Nocta, and also like a couple of other major like professional superstars are also working with Nike or are under contract of Nike, and I hope this will somehow also come back to Artifact, to
yeah.
the digital fashion and
I'm
digital goods industry.
I'm certain that it will. I mean, if you look at all the people that Nike have worked with over the last, let's call it 30 years, or maybe 10 years, let's be a little bit more short term. But if you look at the people that Nike have worked with over the last 10 years, they are all part of the bigger picture community. Like there's some huge names, there's some small names, there's some restaurants, there's some like small stores and super like small towns in the middle of nowhere. But what Nike have done is it's all about including the entire community around their Nike brand. And I think if you look into the metaverse right now, Web3, it's very community based, but not to like to be negative or anything, but the communities are all kind of separate. They're not really inclusive of other projects. And I think with Nike, if they start doing like Artifact, Nike X, I don't know, Cool Cats or things like that, like just bringing in the collaborative atmosphere that Nike has and including everyone into what Nike is all about, I think will be a beautiful progression for Web3 and the metaverse. And also, I mean, they're funds, you know, like to be able to go kind of full scale with what everyone envisions, you need a lot of money. Like when Facebook or Meta pledged $10 billion, like that's just a small piece of I think the overall funds that are needed to fully build out what everyone's dreaming of. So the more these big players get involved, the more I think everyone's dreams will become a reality.
Definitely. This is also a great summary. So I'm actually looking at the floor price right now of Clone X,
Okay,
and it jumped after the news, I think, to what 6.2 Ethereum floor
crazy.
in normal people's money. It's how much is it? Like 24K or something like this.
Yeah, dollars. Yeah.
Yeah. So what is the comparison? Please, I know you have all the numbers in your head. What is the comparison about like the top-notch collectible Nikes in comparison to the floor Artifact Clone X? Like I think, give me a
They
couple of numbers.
they do not come anywhere close, to be honest. There's kind of, I guess, like the top five shoes that maybe are in that ballpark, but the overall market is way lower. So I mean, some examples, a really relevant or recent example would be the Air Dior Jordan 1 high tops. The last sales are around like 6,000 pounds, so like $9,000. If you look at maybe like the Red October Yeezy 2s, it's a similar kind of like top level shoe. Those sell for like $10,000, and that's like Red Octobers came out in I think 2012, and that's a shoe that has 9 years of cultural significance and like brand building and ups and downs from Kanye being at Nike to Kanye going to Adidas to like everything in between and how successful Kanye has been. That's only worth $10,000.
Yeah.
And
Like only we have
brand,
also to put it in perspective, you know. So it's $10,000. It's like for a you like average salary, I think it's like 3 till 4 months of working only for these shoes. Um, but yeah, I guess this is like NFTs are somehow sneakers on steroids. You know, we have the
there's
second or the third day, and we are already at a floor of 6.2 Ethereum. This is just unbelievable.
yeah, there's one shoe actually that's very relevant. Is Artifact did a collaboration with someone called Jeff Staple.
Oh yeah.
And Jeff Staple is regarded as kind of one of the OG like founding fathers of sneaker culture.
Mm-hmm.
And he released a pair of shoes called the Staple Pigeons.
Mm-hmm.
And they released only in New York City, I think around 2005. I think there's 201 pairs. And those shoes are regarded as the community like holy grail of sneakers. There's a few others on that level, like the Paris SBs and Tokyo SBs, but um, the Staple Pigeons are probably one of the most notable sneakers in sneaker culture. And physical pairs, I mean, they're so rare that they don't sell very often, but the market price is probably around right now things went crazy, but the last sales were around like $25,000-$30,000. And the Artifact did a collaboration with Jeff Staple on a digital pair.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the third one down. And the digital pair actually is selling now for a bit lower than the physical pair, but it was selling for more than the physical pair about 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Um,
crazy.
that is crazy. That is insane. A sneaker that is the most significant sneaker in sneaker culture, physical culture, was replaced by the digital version from a brand that wasn't even Nike, Artifact. You know, a new brand doing a digital product was already selling more than the most significant sneaker. One of, I don't want to make any sneakerheads angry by saying it's the most, but one of the most special sneakers of our generation, you know. And the fact that that price, these digital version pairs were going for more was, I think, foreshadowing to the entire Nike deal. Maybe these people knew already that Nike was happening. I don't know, but that was some good foreshadowing into how much people believe in the digital world, and how like much value they will put on digital, like verified ownership versus
They
buying
move,
something physical.
yeah, they move in the right direction, definitely. So both Artifact was very strategic in choosing the creatives and the designers they're working with. Also very strategic if you take a look at the shoe. Very strategic in the design of this shoe because it comes very close to a Nike shoe. So for me, I'm not a professional, but as I see it, for me, it's like clear, it was inspired by a Nike shoe, you know, and also the sign of Artifact. So they are very very smart guys. But to sum everything up, I think we're going to have a couple of talks, but to sum this up, I would love to, um, yeah, to hear some predictions of you. Like, what should we as collectors of artifact items expect? What could we expect? What are the best case scenarios? What are the worst case scenarios that could happen out of this collaboration?
I'll start with the worst case. I mean, the worst case is that everyone wakes up one day and decides this is worth absolutely nothing, and who cares Nike, who cares Artifact, who cares digital assets, and it's it's price. I mean, it's worthless. I think that the only scenario where that would occur is if the community, for whatever reason, was led to believe that it is worthless. Because I think ultimately at this stage of the cycle of NFTs, the community is what decides the value. So if you lose the community, you lose the value. And there's a lot of projects, we can talk about that another day, but there's a lot of projects that they had great communities and then uh, things went downhill. I won't go further into it, but
Okay.
worst case scenario is basically zero. And I think you have to be realistic that in such a high risk environment that really is the worst case reality. My worst case is not zero, because I think if Nike are acquiring a brand in their lineup, like, I mean, it's Nike, Jordan, Converse, and Artifact, you know, like there is going to be significant resources put into this company. And a worst case scenario maybe looks like poor marketing with maybe overproduced quantities of products that don't really sell out, and they don't reward their original supporters like they should. But I think everything that I have seen in the past from Artifact and from Nike, I'm quite comfortable believing that they know how to build a community, they know how to build a brand, and they know how to have collectors passionate about original products, you know.
Yeah, and they
um
also know how to reward the OGs, like the original holders. This is
100%.
this is the key, I think, also. Yeah.
So I think the worst case scenario is maybe that things just go very, very slowly and they don't meet expectations. But at the same time, no one has any expectations. Like, no one knew this was happening. So on a best case scenario, the sky is the limit. I think if we have silhouettes, like Artifact branded silhouettes, all of their own shoes, both digital and physical, that you can buy, like limited edition releases with collaborations with like everyone that you would want to collaborate with on the Web3 side, I think would be a cool play, like Cool Cats or Creatures or Deadfellas, things like that, or maybe like art blocks, do something a little bit more like kind of artsy, or Bored Ape Yacht Club. I know there was a teaser that was going around of a Bored Ape Yacht Club sneaker that supposedly was going to be claimable for Bored Ape Yacht Club holders, but now has kind of gone hush hush. I
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know what's happening with that, but if they continue doing like uh, claimable sneakers for specific products like they did with CryptoPunks, that approach I think is like everyone loves shoes in the real world, and we're still going to need shoes. So if they just listen to what people want and give people cool things, I think we'll see a lot of very exciting releases both digitally and physically and in a huge scale. Like I mean, Nike, they can do sneakers app, they could do all kinds of things where these products are pushed to millions of people. That just means more exposure for NFTs. And if they're doing events and concerts and things like that with the metaverse focus, like Nike is a gigantic brand, you know, like everyone knows Nike, everyone loves Nike. So I think it's very exciting, and I'm very eager to see what happens, and also will do whatever I can to buy as many pairs of artifact sneakers when or if and when they release, because I think that's the start of a new cultural shift, and they will have very significant value going. They should. I mean, given history, these first, if they do a physical pair, that or digital pair, that should have a lot of value. The digital pairs of the artifact sneakers before the partnership also should have insane value, because that's
Yeah,
kind of like
this
pre.
was this was also my alpha somehow. So if you have some Ethereum right now and you don't know what to do, buy the items like the
Yeah,
artifact artifact items of everything pre Clone X. I would say this
yeah,
will very very huge historical value.
a very good strategy. And I think that also, I mean, kind of full circle into a side of NFTs that we didn't really talk about, but the ownership uh, of these items is like I said, verified on the blockchain. So if you own one of these sneakers, it kind of puts you in a group of people, like kind of like a verified, you know, who owns one, and like that's a great networking circle to be in. You know, you're with a group of people who are at the forefront of a cultural revolution, and I think that your networking should not be undermined, because again, there's that famous saying, your net worth is your network. So if you're buying into these, it is a large investment, but it is an investment into uh, the future of all things digital. And I don't want to like shill and preach to everyone too hard, but you're getting a lot of value. You have an opportunity to get a lot of value from these products, more than just meets the NFT. You know, the networking side. That's how we came together. So
Definitely,
it's a
yeah.
great it's a great opportunity to get into something that is quite controversial, because it was before Nike, before Clone X. I think there's a good strategy to buy one of those pieces.
Yeah, I totally agree on this. Samus, was a very pleasure talking to you. Also, very cool to have someone in my community who's not only about IT and digital, but also knows something about like cultural relevant stuff like sneakers and culture and brands. And this is what I'm missing. But this is great to have people in the community who are have different focuses. So how can my community find you? Like what I would link everything up on LinkedIn. Um, what is the best way to reach out to you?
Twitter. I'm working on growing my Twitter. I have my Twitter at Zucker Swag.
Mhm.
And then I mean, another thing that we didn't talk about is the fund that we built up, or that I built up, and that one is under the Twitter at Borna Doesn't Care. So that was a family office NFT fund. Um, that that's probably a
This
dangerous topic to
yeah,
start now at the end of the interview, but
this This is
we
another.
can.
We will definitely make a call regarding this because I have this limited Zoom, and my Zoom call will end soon, like in a couple of minutes. But we will talk
No
about the
problem.
fund and no financial advice. This is only our personal meaning and opinions about this. And yeah, thank you so much for the thank you so much for your time to all the community members who managed to buy some clone eggs, some artifact. Congratulations on this awesome news, on this yeah, really revolutionary, I would say, news in our metaverse space and NFT space. So first of all, Adidas with Bored Ape Yacht Club, but they didn't go the full round. They didn't they just announced it, but there's nothing official, nothing like really official like this, like Artifact and Nike. So this is for me the first major deal in the NFT space. So
So far.
so far, the first, yeah, one of the
But
biggest so far.
we also didn't talk about the entire Murakami angle to Artifact. But yeah, there is so much to talk about, and I'd be happy to talk with anyone anytime. But
Definitely.
it's
So
been a pleasure. And, hope you have
and
a great day.
also to the community, if you have any questions whatsoever, it would help me a lot. Just comment below, ask your questions about culture, about NFTs, about digital, about metaverse, and we will cover it as soon as we have the next talk. Sam, greetings. Was nice talking to you. Take care. Bye.
See you. Yeah. Bye.